Good morning. Today we'll continue discussing chapter 4, the meaning of language. Last time we talked about metaphors. They will be talking about idioms. So, since we know that morphemes of language are arbitrary, yani not predictable by rule, so they are in the lexical, in the mental lexicon. شو المنتال lexicon? And the storage of the words of the language, words or morphemes of the language with their grammatical traits and structural or what we call meanings or semantic meanings. So the words or morphemes of language are arbitrary, yeah, they are not predictable by rule. So these morphemes are in the mental lexicon. Lexicon عبارة عن reservoir of morphemes or words of the language, my grammatical traits and the meaning. So, however, the meanings of morphologically complex words, phrases, and sentences are compositional. Composition يعني are derived by rule. So, meaning of these complex words, phrases, and sentences are compositional, and we talked about this last time. So they are derived by rules. So early we saw in chapter 2 that some the meaning of some words is not predictable. So also these kind of words should be also in the lexicon. Also, we have found out that languages also contain many phrases whose meanings are not predictable. It depends on the basis of the meaning of the individual words or the parts of the word. So these begin as metaphors, and these phrases are repeated over and over, and they become fixed in the language. Such things or such expressions are called what? Idioms or idiomatic phrases. Now look at these examples here. Sail down the river, rake over the coal, drop the ball, let their hair down, put his foot in his mouth, throw her weight around. All of these are what are idioms. They have a certain meaning. So when we say here, on semantic rules in these examples and these idioms are cannot be applied. Cannot be applied. Why? Because the meaning of the expressions or idiomatic phrases that doesn't depend on the individual words of the it depends on the whole idiom. So the rules here cannot be applied to this kind of idioms. So composition حكينا عنها is superseded by expressions that act as individual morphemes in that they are not decomposable. Yani we cannot decompose them into smaller parts. But at the same time, they have fixed meaning that must be read. Yani we should know the meaning. Yani we should memorize the meaning of these idioms. The idioms are similar to ordinary phrases, except that they tend to be frozen in form and do not readily undergo rules. An idiom is like ordinary phrases, but short difference and they do not go or undergo rules that change the word order or a kind of substitution of some parts. Okay, so Sentence in 1 has the same structure as sentence in 2. Look at 1. She put her foot in her mouth. She put her bracelet in her drawer. هاي هنا second sentence عبارة عن ordinary expression أو phrase. Sentence نقول sentence. This is what ordinary sentence here. Number one, she put her foot in her mouth. This is a idiom. لكن sentence 3, 4 are related. The drawer in which she put her bracelet was her own. Her bracelet was put in her drawer. These two sentences are related in meaning. The two sentences here, 1 and 2, are not related here. Why? Because the sentence is an ordinary sentence, بينما السنتنس number عبارة عن idiom. يعني second sentence can be understood depending on the individual parts of the sentence. But here on number 1, we cannot use the individual parts or words of or morphemes of the sentence to give meaning. بينما 3 and 4 here are similar. They have similar meaning. Okay, they are related. Sentence 5 and 6 do not have idiomatic sense of sentence. مثلا the mouth in which she put her foot was her own. Her foot was put in her mouth. So these two sentences here, we cannot say they are what? They are idiomatic here. Okay? These two sentences or examples are not idiomatic. Okay? The idiomatic here, number 1, which she put her foot in her mouth. We cannot say that. We can't say the mouth in which she put her foot was her own. Now, this is not it. This is not an idiom, but this one number 1 is idiom. برضه number 2 here, اللي هي number 6, برضه is not idiom. Okay? What is idiom is what? Only just number 1. So if we know the meaning of 2 and the meaning of the word necklace, we can immediately understand number 7. Then, if we know the meaning of number 2, that he should put her bracelet in her drawer, we can know immediately the meaning of what this sentence. He should put her necklace in the drawer. Ana bracelet, the necklace. And two different morphemes, but the meaning are understood directly. Because he should put bracelet here, something in the drawer, and here she put something else in the drawer. On a bracelet or a necklace. Now, so when we know the meaning of number 2 here, we directly or immediately know the meaning of 7. But if you substitute hand for foot in sentence 1, when she put her hand in her mouth. No, in this case, we don't have what the meaning of idiom. Yeah, the meaning, the idiom does not exist anymore. Why? Because this number 1, we should use foot, not hand. If you put hand, then the idiom is not idiom. The meaning will change. Okay. So major idioms are fixed. Okay, are fixed. And they have what? In some idioms whose parts can be moved without affecting the idiomatic sense. Then there are some idioms whose parts, some of its parts can be moved without affecting the idiomatic sense. For example, the FBI kept tabs on radicals. Tabs were kept on radicals by the FBI. Radicals were kept tabs on by the FBI. When we change the order of the sentence here, sentence number 1 is active, keep tabs. Number 2 is passive. But number 3 is passive. Here, when we move some of these parts, for example, here, by keep tabs, we move tabs to here, and also we move the radicals to number 3, radicals. So moving these parts doesn't affect the idiomatic what? Sense. So, like metaphors, idioms can break the rules in combining semantic properties. For example, the object of eat must usually be something with semantic feature eatable, and can be eaten. For example, we say he ate his hat. So, ate his hat, what we call here, the kind of what idiom. Okay, so in this case, the rules of idioms are broken here when we make this kind of idiom. Eat your heart out. Also, we have what this one. Eat your heart out. From idioms often lead to humor. Look at the example here. What did the doctor tell the vegetarian about his surgically implanted heart valve from a pig? And this is the idiom used for humor, yani to make fun. So that was okay as long as he didn't eat his heart out. His heart out. Okay. Also, idioms may show this respect for syntax. Yani syntax rules may not be what applied here. But an expression deep 6, and these containing parts that are never used as verbs. So deep 6, for all parts, they are never used as verbs. بينما the meaning itself is what verb meaning. So to put the kibosh on yet another idiom, what will it ever end? Idioms may also be used to create what appear to be paradoxes. For example, in many places such as Times Square in New York, a ball is dropped at midnight on New Year's Eve. Now, if the person in charge doesn't drop the ball, then he has dropped the ball. And if that person doesn't indeed drop the ball, then he has not dropped the ball. Right. So here, these idioms can create paradoxes. Okay? And we have this example that shows this paradox. Verbal idioms grammatically, semantically have special characteristics. They must be entered into the lexicon or mental dictionary, single items with their meaning. A speaker must learn the special restrictions on their use. In idiomatic expressions, grammatically, semantically, each have characteristics, and they should be stored in the lexicon or mental dictionary single items مع المينينج تبعهم. Okay. So in this case, the speaker must learn what the special restrictions on the use of these sentences. So in conclusion, we can say all languages have idioms, but they are rarely translated word for word from one language to another. Yani, we can't translate the idioms from English to Arabic literally, yani word by word. Okay? When most American speakers understand the idiom to kick the bucket, yani to die. The same combination of words in Spanish has the literal meaning of striking a specific bucket with a tooth. Okay? In American English, or speakers of American English understand in the idiom kick the bucket يعني انه die. He kicked the bucket and he died. نفس الكومبينيشن of word بالسبانيش لها literal meaning اللي هو يعني he what kicking or striking a specific bucket with a tooth. However, this idiom means to stretch the animal leg. بالإسبانيش شو لها idiom sense of to die بالإسبانيش. Okay. So here idioms طبعا every language has idioms, but some languages have literal meaning of the idioms, and other languages have the total meaning of the idiom as a whole, not as individual words. Any question about idioms? Any question about idioms? Now let's move to lexical semantics. حكينا ذكر عن structural. Now we move to lexical semantics, the whole word meaning or meanings of words. So the meaning of a phrase or sentence is a function of the meaning of the words it contains. In the meaning of a phrase or sentence عبارة عن function of the meaning of the words it contains. يعني قلنا نعرف إن الفريز والسنتنس فيها words. So the meaning of the phrase عبارة عن function of the meaning of the individual parts of the phrase or sentence. Also the meaning of morphologically complex words is function of its component morphemes. برضه the meaning of complex or morphologically complex words برضه function of its component morphemes or its individual morphemes. So there is an important difference between word meaning, the lexical semantics, and sentence meaning. There's a difference between the word meaning اللي هو lexical semantics والsentence meaning. So the meaning of entries in the mental lexicon, morphemes, words, or idiom is conventional. يعني it's traditional or known. يعني the speaker of a language implicitly agree of their meaning. Okay? In conventional, the speaker of the language agree on the meaning of these expressions. And children acquire the language, or who acquire the language must learn those meanings outright. So the meaning of most sentences here can be structured by application of the semantic rules. فحكينا عنهم earlier. The rules of semantic composition. So, although the agreed upon meaning of a word may shift over time, may change over time with the language of community and in the community or the society, we are not free as individuals to change the meanings of words at will. Then, words may change over time in society, among people, but we are not as individual free to change the meaning of words. We cannot change because these words are agreed upon by the individual in the community. So we are unable to communicate with each other if you change the meaning of words. So I have an example. Humpty Dumpty seems unwilling to accept this convention. All the speakers of language have basic vocabulary. The sounds and meanings of morphemes and words. Then this is what the speakers of the language have. They have the sounds and meanings of morphemes and words. Each of us or every one of us know meaning of thousands of words. This kind of knowledge allows us to use words or to express our thoughts and to understand the thought of others. So all of us have thousands of words, and this knowledge of words enable us to understand and express ourselves and to understand the thoughts of others. So we can say that the meaning of word is part of the linguistic knowledge. And the meaning of the word is what part of the linguistic knowledge. So your mental lexicon store information about words and morpheme. This is what we call lexicon. This is what we call lexicon. In a mental storehouse, which has information about words and morphemes, it's called lexicon. It's called lexicon. Now, we have here theories about word meaning. We know that dictionaries are full with words and their meanings. So in this sense, dictionary provide what? Paraphrases rather than meanings. Even dictionary, what does the dictionary do? Provide paraphrases, not the meaning of what? Of words. Okay. So this depends on knowledge of the language. So when we have knowledge of the language, so we can understand what the definitions. So the meaning associated with words and the meaning with words or the meaning of words in our mental lexicon are not similar to what we find in conventional dictionary. Okay? Even there is a difference between what we have in our mental lexicon and what we find in conventional dictionary. So the meaning of a word is not like what is in the dictionary. So what does this mean? Well, this question has been debated or has been discussed by philosophers and linguists for a long time. One of the suggestions is that the meaning of a word or expression is its reference. And the meaning of the word is what? Its reference. Yani, its association with the object it refers to. You know, the meaning of the word or expression is its reference. Your reference, yani its association with the object it refers to. So this real word objection is reference. We call it what? Reference. So we already have decided the meaning of what? Of the proper name like Jack. It's reference. Reference here, Jack refers to somebody. Then the connection between where Jack, the person, with person named Jack, low reference. So even the link between the word Jack and the person named Jack, which is its referent. And Jack one referent what? The Jack. We say he refers to Jack. So we know that proper names are noun phrases. Yani you can substitute or replace a proper in any MP position in a sentence. And in this case, you can keep the grammaticality of the sentence. And other MPs that refer to individuals as well. مثلا, MP is like the happy swimmer, And my friend and that guy. All of them can be used to refer to Jack. If we say, for example, Jack is a happy swimmer, يعني نقدر نقول MP happy swimmer refers to Jack. لو قلنا برضه my friend Jack برضه refers to what? To the MP, my friend. لو قلنا that guy برضه refer to Jack in the noun phrase, Jack or that guy. So in this case, we can say that the same is true for pronouns such as I, you, and him. برضه هو كمان لهم function can please. So in all these cases, the reference of NP is part of the meaning of the NP. Even reference of the NP is part of the meaning of the NP. However, on the other hand, or not every NP refers to an individual. إذا فعلا some NPs refer to individual, and other NPs do not refer to individuals. For instance, nobody swims. طبعا شو فيها nobody swims؟ فيها NP لو nobody. Sorry, no baby. So in this case, our linguistic knowledge does not tell us that this MP refer to any specific individual. Okay. So we have other MPs that do not refer to individual. Like this example, no baby swims. طبعا no baby swims في MP اللي هو no baby. لكن linguistic knowledge tells us that this اللي هو no baby does not refer to any specific individual. Even if no baby has no reference, then it is what is not meaningful. It's not meaningful, or it's not meaningless. So if no baby has no reference, but is not meaningless, yani meaningful, then something about the meaning beyond the reference must be present. For example, the fictional word Superman and Clark Kent have the same reference. In Superman, Clark, they are one. They are one person and the same person. Okay. So when we say Superman and Clark Kent, they have the same reference. Both of them are what? The same. لكن في عندنا more meaning to their names. So what are these meanings? For example, if you substitute Clark Kent for Superman in sentence like Lois Lane is in love with Superman, here we change the truth value. Start from true to false. Okay? So if we substitute Clark Kent for Superman, okay, in the sentence like Lane or Lois Lane is in love with Superman, in this case, we change the truth value and this sentence becomes false. So we can say that there must be a kind of dimension of meaning beyond references. For another example, Barack Obama and the president have the same reference. When we say, for example, the president, it refers to Barack Obama. When we say Barack Obama, it refers to the president. So they have the same reference. لكن المينينج بالMP, the president, عبارة عن the head أو المينينج the head of the United States of America. وهذا عبارة عن element له meaning separate from reference and more enduring. Okay. إذا هنا the reference ممكن يكون the same thing and ممكن يكون different. So when we say Barack Obama and the president, and they are the same. When we say Barack Obama, he's the president. When we say the president, he's Barack Obama. لكن هون the president is addition. وصار ايش له head of the United States. فهنا المينينج صار separating from the reference اللي هو ايش Barack Obama. كindividual. Okay. Any question about reference? Any question? Okay. Now we'll move to يزيد.
دكتور الله يعطيك العافية.
ما فيك.
دكتور أنا يعني ما شرحتش، بدي أشرح المحاضرة الجاية إذا ما في حد يشرح.
وعندنا يوم الخميس عندنا الاعتماد.
يعني 30 محاضرة.
الخميس الخميس الاعتماد. فما بتقدرش تعمل بعد العيد. عرفت؟ لأنه بكون انتهى الاعتماد.
3 مظبوط.
بقدرش دخل علامتك. عرفت؟ انت تأخرت المفروض يعني اليوم او الاسبوع الماضي عملت.
والله يا دكتور اني ما مضغوط كثير يعني في المواد.
ما بقدرش ادخل لو حطيتك علامه ما بقدرش ادخلها على النظام لان النظام مسكر. عرفت؟
ثلاثاء
لانه الخميس هذا هو بصير عندنا لو حكيت اليوم وعملت اليوم كان نزلنا لك اياها قبل موعد الاعتماد، لان الاعتماد يوم الخميس.
دبرها يا دكتور. ما
نعم
دبرها، بشرح الثلاثاء خلص.
3 مو عطل. 3 عطل، العطل يوم الثلاثاء. عرفت؟
الدكتور لو اعطيتني واجب او شرح مثلا ملخص
ما فيش غير برزنتيشن واجب عشان بدك تعمل برزنتيشن.
شو الحل يا دكتور العاد؟
انت بتعملها بعد الاعتماد، بضيف لك اياها على
بضبط يعني عادي بعد الاعتماد معك؟
بضيف لك اياها على الفاينل بقول.
خلص معناته بصير.
بس خليها بعد العيد لانه ما ظنش معنا وقت انتهى، لانه لو حكيت لي انه بدك تعمل اليوم كان خليناك تعمل اليوم. اوكي.
خلص لبعد.
Okay. Now we'll be talking about sense. We are done with reference. طبعا في شيء عندنا هنا something more to meaning than reference alone. يعني we have something else that what tell us about the meaning of words more than the reference. So here, this is suggested by the fact that speakers know the meaning of many words that have no real word reference. إذا في عندنا speakers language know the meanings of many words that are not in the real world. زي hobbits, unicorns, and Harry Potter. Although they are not in the real world, but speaker know the meaning of these words. For example, what real word entities would function like of and by, or models such as will and may refer to. نفس الشيء مع by أو of أو will or may برضه. These entities like function as they are function words اللي حكي عنهم. لو عندنا preposition here for by في عندنا المودلز واللومي. طبعا these additional نعملهم addition للمينينج بنسميهم sense. شو يعني sense؟ It is the extra something referred to earlier. زي قلنا union, unicorns, hobbits, and Harry Potter. They have sense but no reference. إذا هذول الكلمات لهم sense. شو يعني but no reference؟ يعني these words يعني the speakers know the meaning of the words but they are not found in the real world. They are not found in the real world. أو they have no real word reference. Okay, they have no real word reference. But the speakers of the language know these words. Okay. For example, a name like Clem, Lady Popper may refer to a certain person. Now it's reference. But this has little linguistic meaning beyond it. This name may refer to a certain person. Now it's reference. But in this case, has little linguistic meaning but beyond that, يعني after that. So philosophers of language, from the old ages, ancient Greek, suggested that part of meaning of a word is a mental image it conjures up. Then part of the meaning is the mental image, yani what you imagine in your mind. And this helps with the problem of unicorns, hobbits, and Harry Potter. هنا we may have clear image of these entities from books, movies, and so on. In this case, this connection may serve as reference for those. إذن طبعا beyond the meaning في عندنا images of the meaning. هنا طبعا الورد حكينا عنهم يونيكورن، هوبيت وهاري بوتر. طبعا they are not found in they don't have reference in the real world, but لما يكون عندنا هنا we have a clear image in our mind of these entities. طبعا when you read books or you watch movies, تعمل connection between these words and what you imagine in your mind. So many meaningful expressions are not associated with any clear, unique image. The many meaningful expressions have no clear image. By what? By most of the speaker of the language. For example, what image is evoked by the words very, if, and every? Well, it is difficult to say that these expressions or images are meaningful. For example, what is the image of oxygen as distinct from nitrogen? Both are colorless, necessarily odorless gases, but they differ in meaning. Okay? And if you know the common characteristics between oxygen and nitrogen, both are colorless, وبعدين odorless gases, لكن they are different in meaning. برضه, what a mental image would we have of dog? What that to include Yorkshire Terriers and the Great Danes. And in this case, excluding other animals like foxes and wolves. And the meaning of no man in no man is an island. عبارة عن a riddle. Despite the fact that the meaning of a word corresponds to a mental image is intuitive, because many words do not provoke imagery. So it is inadequate as general explanation where people know about word meanings. So it's inadequate as general explanation of what people know about word meanings. So the best way we can do is to know that reference part of a word's meaning, if it has reference at all, is the association with its reference. And the sense part of part meaning contains the information needed to complete the association and to suggest properties that the reference may have. إذن المينينج ممكن يكون عندنا reference، الوورد لها reference، ممكن لها association with the reference، ممكن برضه sense part of the word meaning فيها information that we need to complete the association and to have properties that the reference may have. سواء كانت exist in real world or in the world of imagery. Okay, any question about sense? Any question? Okay, that's enough for today. Let's stop here. And for العام وانتم بخير. See you next after Eid.
تبارك بخير دكتور، الله يعطيك العافية.